Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction for Tower of God Chapter 621 or Season 3 Episode 204. Excited to read, as I always am. This flashback's been incredible. I actually don't think we have too much left of this flashback. Probably. I've been saying for a couple of weeks that I think I'm going to be left wanting more. There's so many answers I want, and I don't think I'm going to get all of them before the flashback ends, so we probably don't have too much of it left after what happened last week. Just because, I don't know, we ended on a weird cliffhanger, so I'm excited to see what we get this week. Where I think last week's chapter was my least favorite of the flashback, which isn't really saying a lot because all of them have been very, 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 very good. So we'll have to see what happens, but before I get into that, I wanted to say I'm a little bit anime-brained. Been thinking a lot about the anime lately. I usually watch so many reactions to the manhwa earlier in the week, and then there's none left to watch later in the week, so it's been a few days. Got to get back into manhwa mode, but I've been very excited about the anime, though I didn't have time to record my reaction to episode 3 yet, so I haven't seen episode 3 yet. I'll do that tomorrow. Tomorrow will ideally be Kubera and the Tower of God anime reaction. So that'll be tomorrow, and I also wanted to bring this up. Let me show you. I have it here somewhere. I set it up ahead of time. On Discord yesterday, I was looking for an image to use for something of Karaka, and I ran into this in the image results, and I was like, that time I saw Fate when I had the Arwangan and Karaka siblings theory before that was, I think I did that before even, I think I did that before we even started Name Hunt. And then I saw a video, again, what I said afterward, what 8 years of Tower of God videos do to you. Too much bomb discussion from 8 years ago. And if you dig through the layers of a near decade ago of cringe, not that my videos now feel too much better to me, honestly, if you dig through all that, my points are, the video is kind of evergreen. It's kind of non-perishable, because my points were basically, we're getting so much more bomb now compared to, again, because when I made this video, we were, still, I think we were still just coming off of Dollar Show, or maybe during Dollar Show. So, we were just, to me, coming off of Season 2, Return of the Prince, Workshop Battle, where a lot of characters are doing a lot of cool stuff. And I was like, we're getting a lot more focus on Bomb than we used to, and a lot less focus on the side characters, but especially Rack. I kept bringing up Rack. I was like, Rack is getting less attention, where before Rack was he was funny, he was comedic relief, but he was also like this tempering, mature voice of reason at times when Kun is thinking about what to do when Bomb's knocked out in Season 1, and Kun's like, what I think you lost is your banana, or when Kun at the beginning of Workshop Battle is like, I need to figure out a plan, I don't know what to do, and Rack's like, you need to make a decision, you need to go bring Black Turtle back, and I'll help you with it, I'll do things your way, but we need to get Black Turtle back. And I was like, going into Hell Train, Rack just barely said anything or did anything that wasn't comedic relief, where these mature balancing scenes, these lines given to Bomb, these moments with Bomb, were given to characters like Boro and Sachi, giving Bomb some advice. And I was like, wow, that is evergreen. Because, again, we still have the problem where I don't think too much Bomb has been as much of a problem in a lot of the sections of Season 3. But there have been sections where it has been a problem, but the Rack point is very evergreen to me. Rack still rarely gets moments when he's not just comedic relief, and that's what, even though I liked the recent Rack power-up, I think that kind of hurt the power-up and a lot of people's opinion on it, because Rack just doesn't get many scenes that aren't just comedic relief. And then beyond that, it's once again a situation where I feel like in Season 3, one thing that is applicable to Season 3 is how we keep introducing new side characters and developing them very well, which I think is a good thing. We have had some killer side character focus in Season 3. I'm going to go back to this other screen. But when it comes to our main core group climbing, and it's just something that I've thought about more and more and more with this flashback, where we see Tromare and his allies, and they feel so tight-knit. They feel like real friends. We just don't have that emotional core with Bomb and his teammates in season 3, and I really wish we got that. It was like we took a diversion, we took a little offshoot path to go rescue Jinsung, and then rescuing Jinsung took over 100 chapters, and we didn't get back to climbing. We didn't get back to the everyday. We got wrapped up in this war between two of the great families. And then Bomb just got power up after power up after power up, and it's like, now, whereas like early season 3, Bomb would have been strong, extremely strong, but climbing still made absolute sense. But now it kind of feels like everybody's like, they're just too strong at this point. And I think there's a point there, but I think maybe what we need to do is, again, the emotional core of the series felt better when we had a direction, and that direction was up. We were just climbing, but while we were climbing, we got into the Karaka FUG drama. We got into stuff with Kaiser in the Name Hunt Station. We got into stuff with Hell Joe in the Floor of Death, and the Thorn Fragments. We got into stuff with Zahard's army, with the data of former Zahard and a family head and all of that stuff. And so we were doing important stuff. We were taking diversions that normal characters climbing the tower weren't really taking these diversions, but we were still climbing as we were taking these diversions. And I feel like season 3 has been nothing but diversions without the sense of progress that comes along with them. And I think that's been an issue. Also, like I said, the emotional core. The emotional core was always with Bomb and his allies, climbing the tower, seeing all the characters' sad backstories, them joining the team, characters falling in and out, and it was always exciting to guess who's going to be a part of this arc or a part of that arc. Are we getting Team Ran for this arc? Are we getting Team Shibisu for this arc? Who are we having? Are we getting Tang Suyuk? What's going to be going on for this arc? And we've just lost that sense. And instead of the emotional core being with Bomb with season 3, I feel like the emotional core just hasn't been. Like, I haven't been the most invested in what Bomb's going through or dealing with, especially the further along we go. I think early season 3 you can still get it. The emotional core for Bomb is that he is still trying to rescue Jinsung. Everything he's doing is for the sake of that. But we kind of like invest so much story into Yama that I feel like the Yama, Yasracha, the flashback stuff, Traumare, that kind of starts to overshadow Bomb until we get to the post-hiatus Declaration of War saga stuff. And once we're in the Declaration of War saga stuff, I absolutely feel like our emotional core right now as a story, to me, is Traumare. Traumare is like, he's the focus of this multiple chapter flashback. We're on part 6 by now. And it just feels like everything that's happening, Traumare almost feels like the main character. Everything that's happening here just ties back to him rather than tying back to Bomb. Bomb is just kind of along for the ride because it's like, before it was like Bomb's climbing the tower to find answers for Rachel. Bomb's climbing the tower to help his teammates up. Bomb is climbing the tower because he feels like he needs to take Zahard down because of the bad things that Zahard has done. And then at a certain point, we get to this point, and then, of course, Bomb's trying to go rescue Jinsung. He's not necessarily climbing, but there's a solid goal there. Now it's not that Bomb has a solid goal he's trying to achieve. It's more just like Bomb has to be a part of this war because Gustang wants him, Traumare wants him, and he's just kind of caught in the middle. It's not that he wants to be here. It's not that Bomb really has any express goals. It's just that he's kind of forced to be here, whereas other characters have more actual personal investment in what's going on than Bomb has. And I don't know, I don't think that's necessarily an issue for like small bits at a time, but it feels like season 3 has just been large chunks of Bomb and his allies and the grander goals of Tower of God, because like in One Piece, people have brought up as a comparison to Tower of God, you always have the idea of this goal of they're finding the One Piece, they're going around the world. There's always this concrete goal that, even though there are side missions, so to speak, and arcs that are focused on arc things, you're all generally moving in a certain direction. And it just feels like in season 3, I think it would have helped if not only were we going after Jinsung, but we were going up floors as we were getting to him, instead of going down floors a bit. And with this war, maybe it's like, okay, because of this war, we need to go up 5 floors. And much like the early Hell's Train stuff, we don't really have to focus on the exams. Like, that doesn't need to be a focus. Just say, okay, they passed their exam off screen or whatever. But just give us this continual forward progression as we're dealing with this arc content. And I think that would actually improve season 3 a bit. But I am just really getting, off topic in terms of analyzing Tower of God when it's not really applicable to this particular chapter that we're going into. I mean, I guess it applies to any chapter. It's just general discussion stuff. I'm sure you get it. I feel like a lot of people feel even more harshly toward Tower of God than me, because I think things are still very, very good. I personally still love Tower of God, of course. But I am able to analyze the parts where I'm like, I think this could be better if this is done, or this could be better if this is done. And I think that, again, when I say that we should focus more on climbing, that's not necessarily we should focus more on regulars taking tests, because even in Hell Train, we didn't necessarily focus on that. That wasn't our focus. We just skimmed over the regulars taking the tests. But we still had forward progression. I think when I say we should still focus on climbing, it's not about Bomb and his allies taking tests, because you can still just kind of skim through that stuff. I think it's more about a forward momentum for the characters, because it feels like we have just not had that forward momentum in season 3. We've kind of just been caught up in forces larger than our group. But also I think that we're not doing a good job with Bomb's allies. I think that Bomb's allies should be moving in and out. And we've had that a little bit with Shibisu and Hatsu. We had that a little bit with Joaquin, if you can even really count him. We've had that a bit with Hwaryun or Hackney and Elaine, but they really haven't gotten to do very much. Or there was another example, but Andrasi coming back in for the Declaration of War stuff. We've had a little bit, but I just really think we should have had more of Bomb's allies fading in and out through these arcs into the team and stuff. Because again, if we have characters like Andrasi playing a role here, or characters in the nest like Hatsu and Shibisu playing a role, they can play important roles. The regulars in the nest played really good and really important roles. So we can still do that in a place with high rankers and stuff. I just think that there needs to be more involvement there, whereas we've just spent so much time on the new characters being introduced and, making them the center of things. And again, I don't think that that's a bad thing, because these characters have been very, very, very good. They've been some of the best. I asked last week in the intro what, if you had to name your top 5 Tower of God characters just off the top of your head, what would they be? And a lot of people answered with Dumas or Tiara in their answers. And that's because they've been good. A lot of people said Traumerei, because Traumerei's been good. But yeah, I guess the results of that I haven't counted in a few days, but definitely there was a lot of Joaquin, which is my favorite character, so that's nice. There was a lot of Kuneye. Kuneye was my favorite after season 1, but he's kind of fallen off in my rankings in late season 2 into season 3. He's fallen off for me, but Kuneye was in a lot of people's top 5s. Yusracha and Yama were in a ton of people's top 5s. And again, Yusracha especially, I think even much more so than Yama. People really, really, really still think Yusracha is one of the most well done. And again, that's been one of SIU's triumphs. I've mentioned it a lot with this flashback, with how good Amizu, Traumerei have been, that his side character writing and just Yirang, the stuff with Yirang I thought was so good. His side character writing has been really, really good. I just would also love that to extend more to the cast surrounding Bomb. But I guess that's about it. The only thing more I have to say before I actually get into reading is to talk about last week's chapter for just a second. And that is to say that if Amizu is dead, I'm hoping we learn a little bit more this week. She may be just dead, but I'm hoping we learn that there's a little bit more to it, because in my opinion, after how good this flashback was, that's kind of maybe it's just me. That kind of just feels like an underwhelming death to me personally. I think the Enkidu stuff was very well written and very well telegraphed, but if she just died like that, it feels a little bit weak to me. I think that, some things that could be thrown in. I think it would be neat if we just have full Traumerei heel turn. If we find out that Traumerei controlled Enkidu and is just a totally evil guy now who took this rejection and was completely just went off about it. and like have a little bit of that fault be Traumare's, because Gaston says it's your fault, Traumare. I do think that that could be more interesting. Just have a character, like have it be where you can understand where he's coming from in some ways, but he's just a shitty guy. He's evil. Just have characters be evil here and there. I think that maybe that could be a twist that's added in. Maybe she's not actually dead yet, and Traumare uses her to have kids and then she dies at a later date. That would be messed up, and that would be another way to throw some twist into things. We know that when we see Enkidu in the present time, he's just this crispy, toasty head. So the thumbnail for this one was Edouan not looking happy. You feel like whether it's Edouan or any of the other family heads like Gaston, Girang, both using flames, or Traumare himself, Enkidu's not gonna like where this goes at this point. It's crazy that he even survives as just a head, to be honest with you. And we do see in the flashback with Traumare when he's like, oh, this feels terrible, I'm gonna forget this, that Kraken is out. It looks like the ground isn't the same place that we're at now. So they're gonna move a little bit, at least it seems, and again, maybe this does turn into like an actual fight with him busting out the Kraken. So either way, with all that aside, super long Haku intro aside, haven't done one of these in a few weeks, but I felt like there was a lot of Tower of God stuff worth talking about, and I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing when there's stuff that's worth discussing like that. But yeah, with all that out of the way, let's actually read. We have a violence warning this time around, and it makes absolute sense this week. I am expecting some violence this time around. Just double checking to make sure you can see the chapter. When he finally came to his senses and opened his eyes. And this Crane ain't worth a shit. Crane didn't try to help at all. And then he saw Amizu lying there. Her body had been brutally mutilated by his blade. The only sound in his ears was the Crane's sad, bitter song of mourning. The heart-wrenching melody brought him back to reality. A moment later, his whole body was overcome with a terrible chill. Enkidu had lost control. What have I done? He couldn't hold back, and Traumare just stood there through the whole thing. The fury within him. Tower of God, Traumare's Past, Part 6. We have this cracking lightning. Is this going to be Edouan? Traumare, have you seen Amizu? The flying crane went this way. He stops and sees her. Amizu? Whose sword is that? Enkidu, you bastard. I didn't mean to... And then, this is from the thumbnail, I'm assuming. I'm gonna kill you. And Enkidu goes to run. Damn it. He gets hit by the lightning. Gah. And covers the back of his head. I'm tempted to behead you right now. But I need to ask you a few things first. And then we have a slash before he can continue his sentence. And he does get beheaded. Is this going to be Gaston then? No. Traumare. Okay. Traumare. What the? And we have the blood. Okay, we have a ship now. This is the one we saw in the corner that time. This is an actual important person. I can't believe how many he slayed in such a short time. Is this... Okay, the most exciting stuff that we were talking about after last week was the ancient creatures. We talked before when Gaston goes like this and he's like, look what I've got, and he's got the Fitbit. And he's like, it connected us to the things we feared when climbing the tower. We know they were hunting ancient creatures. We don't know exactly what ancient creatures are. What separates them really from... What really separates ancient creatures from just the Shin Hail of the tower? So that's one of the most interesting things. And specifically when Amizu's like, I know what you're doing in your house, and I know what you're doing in your house, and I know what you and Zahard want. So one of the top theories that I kept seeing people in the comments and other reactors saying is that they think it's related to the red light district. And I think that's a good guess. I think that's a really, really good theory. but I said it could... Yeah, I forget what I was thinking it could be related to. Oh yeah, I thought maybe it could be related to the snakes, because we know at some point he captured the Serpent Master and kept him sealed away for like tens of thousands of years or thousands of years. Sorry, hiccup. However long it was. So it could be related to that, since the snake charmer is also a snake strand, and it was part of selecting the Zahard's princesses. But now we're seeing it looks like it's going to be related to the ancient creatures. And we know that one of the branches of the family are the Chimera branch. Could it be related to that? There's some in here with wings that look humanoid, like angels. This one over here, if you can see my cursor, looks sort of Leviathan shaped. So are he and Zahard maybe, again, away from the eyes of the workshop? Are they like studying the ancient creatures or something? But who is this? I mean, I'm assuming it's a member of their team. I'm just wondering which member of their team. Could it be Arlen because they have the hair color? Okay. This is like really compelling stuff. Then again, Chaumaré is no ordinary man. And this is a mass of tentacles. Did he maybe use these to create his like 7 deadly creatures or whatever? Then, I can't reach Luzlek. I think something's wrong. Luzlek? Luzlek's pocket is still in here. So is this Arlen then? Because the hair color matches. Have he and Amizu not escaped yet? Or are we going to get another, like, proto-FUG member? There must be some kind of problem. I'd better go and check. I wonder if this is actually Arlen, though. The night of the party ended in tragedy. And that could explain, because I was thinking too, it's like, well, how does Murchia get out of here? This could maybe explain it. The night of the party ended in tragedy. Even after being beheaded, Enkidu was still alive, so his head was kept for questioning later. Amizu's friends tried their best to save her. Okay, and again, we're having the friend specifically, so this one with red hair is somebody important. And like when you think of red hair in Tower of God, you think of Enryu and the Red Witches, but presumably this wouldn't be. This would maybe even be before their time, assuming that the Red Witches did come from Enryu or whatever. But that's, of course, just a theory. But not even they were powerful enough. And again, right after this stuff that Yirang went through, to bring someone back from the dead. Amid all the chaos, the intruder slipped away, and again, it's just like Arlen who couldn't bring back, Viol, assuming her child. Or V, of course. Amid all the chaos, the intruder slipped away, and the commotion came to an end. Everyone was utterly heartbroken by the unexpected turn of events. Meanwhile, again, whatever's going on in that lab is like crazy, because we didn't even see that in the present time. But the fact that the one thing had tentacles just makes me think, we know that there are some of Chaumaré's creatures that fit a naming scheme like the 7 Deadly Sins. There's Lazy Elgor, Arrogant Kraken, Enraged Rapid, and arguably you could argue, you could argue that Cobalt, because he ate the frogs, would be Gluttony, but that's a bit of a stretch when the others like fit a very specific naming scheme. So maybe he used the ancient creatures to like create his 7 deadly creatures, but who knows. Meanwhile, Gaston was obligated to investigate and record what happened that day. This is the scene. Chaumaré, I'm coming in. This is what we saw in the flashback when we had the face reveal. And now we're seeing Kraken. Amizu's dead because of that monster. Enkidu, it's your fault that this happened, Chaumaré. I feel miserable. I'm going to erase this memory. Chaumaré, I know you're in pain, and we're continuing the scene now, but please don't lose sight of reality. I think throwing please in there is important. An issue like this can't be forgotten simply because you alone choose to ignore it. The only way to erase this is if everyone forgets about it. It's my job to record history, so just give me some time to find out exactly what happened. Every moment is torture for me, Gaston. I know. I'll try to get it done as quickly as possible. Very well. Then let me go with you when you interrogate Enkidu. Are you sure that's a good idea? I need to know why he killed Amizu. Okay, if that's how you feel, then be my guest. You can come too. Inside Traumare's floating castle. You're not getting out of here alive anyway, Enkidu. The underground dungeon. If you don't tell me the truth, I'll make your death more painful than you can imagine. Okay, just taking in some of the designs here. I feel like we've maybe seen similar designs before with these things that are holding him. However, if you're honest with me, I can put you out of your misery a little more peacefully. The person who told me to kill Amizu was V. What? What? He instructed me to approach Traumare and then disguise myself as one of you, kill her and escape. He said that would create a rift between you all. What? V made you do it. That's impossible. You may be able to make yourself look like other people, but you've been with me constantly. You would have never had time to talk to V by yourself. He mostly contacted me through Amizu. Of course, she did think I was the person who was supposed to help her escape. What? But that's why she followed me unquestioningly that day. So she could tell, she knew that it was Enkidu pretending to be Luzlek, but she followed him anyway. I succeeded in killing her, and then I tried to disguise myself as one of you and let you see me running away. But Traumare found me first. That doesn't make any sense though, because he was clearly just with Traumare. Like, he was clearly just standing there with Traumare. So yeah, this has to be a lie. That's the reason that I failed to complete my mission, and you caught me. But only Traumare would know that this is a lie. Gaston wouldn't know that it's a lie. So is he telling a lie to sow division now? Because, again, this has to be a lie, because it wouldn't make any sense. When he killed her, he blacked out. And Traumare was right there. So this just makes me think, is he trying to create division just on his own? To split them up so that he splits up their old friend group so that Traumare only has him left to rely on, maybe even? Because we know that this has to be a lie. So the question is just to be like, why is he lying? And it might be to split them up because if for whatever reason Gaston actually believes Enkidu here, or is like, hey, Enkidu might be telling the truth, that does further a split between them. What do you think? I don't believe him. But it might not be entirely impossible if Amizu helped him. The frog decided he's telling the truth as well. The frog? I never expected them to plot something like this. Same here. But we've gotten a confession from him. Eradicate that despicable bastard for me right now. Or maybe Traumare convinced him to lie? I don't even know what's going on. This is very confusing, because what we're being told is very clearly not what happened. I don't ever want to see his face again. So this is Cobalt before he became a deity, I guess? Sure. He looks back. And we still have this, like, angry darkness coming off of Enkidu. He's pissed. Everyone agreed that afternoon to kill Enkidu. Only one person, Popodal Gaston, opposed the idea. Or maybe Gaston's actually kind of smart. Maybe Gaston, like, you know, he should be. That's kind of his stereotype. But what I mean by it is maybe Gaston doesn't believe him, and that's why Gaston wants to keep him alive. Gaston just wants to keep locking him up. Eventually it was decided that Enkidu's head would be sealed away forever instead of incinerated. Again, smart on Gaston's part. Yan Yirang proposed that they trap him in vines that grow forever and illuminate the area around him with a light ball. Then she'd make sure that the vines grow to such enormous proportions that no one would ever be able to find Enkidu's head within them. Everyone agreed with her suggestion, and we also know the door that led to Enkidu couldn't be accessed without Shinwanryu, so only an irregular would be able to unlock it. And Enkidu's head was sealed in the deepest corner of the vines. The vines drank from the endless supply of water around them, and grew constantly, but someone eventually cast a spell on the vines. Okay, so who is this? Somebody who's a spellcaster. And made them stop growing. And we're seeing the pages. Are we going out of the flashback here? We are. Wow, why did I decide to seal Enkidu away? So yeah, he's going to wonder why he sealed him instead of killing him. And I think Gastang probably knew that there's a chance he could have been lying. Instead of killing him. I'm sure it wasn't out of pity for him. There must have been some other reason. Perhaps I hoped that the truth uncovered that day would never be either forgotten or revealed. Because there's still the possibility that what Enkidu told me that day was true. I didn't kill her. It wasn't me. What? I didn't do it. So again, was it like I said? Because Enkidu blacked out. Enkidu doesn't remember what happened. So did Traumerei do it? And if Traumerei is, again, if Traumerei is really evil, like if he is a really evil guy, like truly evil, does Traumerei kill her, try to pin it on Enkidu, so he's killing his fiancée, or who he wanted to be his fiancée, blaming it on his friend, and he's doing that in order to set the family heads together against V. There's always the chance that Zahard could have, because Zahard and Traumerei we know were extremely close, that in order to get everybody to band together against V and Arlen, he convinced, like Zahard convinced Traumerei, or Traumerei could have even done it on his own. We don't know how just crappy a person he could be. Traumerei does this in order to get the family heads together against V and Arlen. I didn't do it. I'm not human. I was forced to do it. Traumerei made me kill. Feeling so good that I was like, that would make things so crazy, so exciting, and then it actually happens. Oh, I'm so excited that this actually happened. Like, not excited in the sense that, oh yeah, that's so sad and tragic, but excited in that, wow, that's a good story. Traumerei sucks. Traumerei made me kill her, in exchange for receiving the administrator's blessing. I'm incapable of killing any of you of my own free will. Right. So that confirms that it doesn't just apply to the family heads, it applies to any of the members of their team, any of the Trailblazers. So Murchia counts in that too, I assume, that he can't, kill Murchia like this. In that case, Enkidu wasn't the one who killed Amizu. It might have been someone else. And we end there. That was a really good chapter. Not even good in the sense of good character work like we've seen a bunch before, or good just action, things happening, hype like we've seen before. But what a good chapter in the sense of mystery and intrigue. SIU has been crushing it with this flashback, and he continued to do so. That was top tier. Let me remove this filter. That was extremely good. Extremely, incredibly good. He put his foot in that one. That was good. He killed it. So, I guess there's not much else to say. I guess that's it for this week. Man, I'm so excited to see everybody else's reactions. That was good stuff. That was really good stuff. Oh well, I've been recording a bit. It's actually, I was late starting because, like I said, I had just ate, so it's 11 p.m. I need to, sorry, hiccup. I keep saying hiccup whenever this happens, and it's happened for the past few years, but I've seen another streamer do this, and he's like, oh, it's GERD, it's gastro something, reflux disorder or whatever. And I was like, maybe I have that. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe I've got GERD. But like, constantly, I don't know what happened, but just over the past few years, when I'm trying to talk for long periods at a time, like when I record, I often just have like what is just a hiccup, but it's not like when you get the hiccups and it happens constantly. It's just like one single hiccup and then I'm good for like 15 minutes or something again. So I don't have any idea what the deal is with that. But it's just something I've been dealing with for the past few years. If you've been watching my videos, you've probably seen me do it an absolute ton by now. But yeah, I guess that's about it for this week. I absolutely adored the chapter. I had a lot of discussion at the beginning that I'll section off as a Long Haku intro. Thank you so much for watching. Like if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this chapter, my thoughts and reaction, and all that. Subscribe for more Tower of God, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, it is free and open for anyone. Also, like I said, the video on the anime episode will be tomorrow. Ideally, it's supposed to storm tomorrow. It's supposed to storm every day. Again, I mentioned contacting some other Tower of God YouTubers about doing a collab stream, but I have not yet worked out I've not yet messaged them all again in a group message to like get a time set, just because I have been so busy lately. I've literally just been working on stuff from the time I wake up to the time I drag myself to sleep at like 7 a.m. So I have just not had time for like anything. I just really want to have time because I really want to make more videos and more streams. But either way, that aside, if you want to help support the channel, if you want to help me to keep making videos just in general, if you want to help fund me having more time, then you can drop a super thanks if you'd like to. But if you want to get your name at the end of every video, get a little something out of it, get One Piece videos a little bit early. I did. I remembered to make One Piece public this week. Last week, remember when I was recording Tower of God, I realized that I had forgotten. Ooh, my mic peaked there for some reason. Hopefully that wasn't terrible for you to listen to. But yeah, if you want to do all that, you can hit join down below to become a member. If you can go to patreon.com to become a patron. A link will be in the description. Patreon.com/HakuOfTheTubes. And thank you to people who are already members and patrons. Thank you to Chosen Regular Evan Holly, Magical Girls, FR Nono, Abyss Knight, JA, and the D-Ban, Cheriton Students, David Langstaff and Folded Goal, Slayer Candidates, SG and Stan Cedar, and Pure Element Pate Ardial. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.